Merlot is excited to share that Louis Sosa, PR.0 manager at Merlot Marketing, is the president of the California Capital Chapter of PRSA. And we are super excited about this and want to talk with Louis about his experience and what his vision is for the chapter in 2020.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's dive in.
So how long have you been involved with PRSA?
Well, with PRSA itself, since 2014, but prior to that, a couple years with PRSA, which is the college version at Sac State. And
good. So you started young.
Yeah, and I mentioned that because you can transition in. There's a lot of connections between the collegiate level and the professional level. So in many ways, we're kind of groomed for a couple years to see, is this something we'd want to be a part of? And then I joined right after graduating.
Awesome. So in college, you started with the program, if you will. What prompted you to join?
It comes down to what your major is and your passions are and seeing, okay, so how do you get involved in the PR world? You start learning about this stuff, you're taking courses and classes, and you want to know, how do you take that next step? How do you not only learn more, but get involved networking with professionals, and not only like get tips and tricks on how to hone your craft, but also what is out there? Because you start and you're like, so what do I do with PR? Oh, everything. Okay, well, what is everything? What are some examples? And so you start connecting during networking events and mixers. And so that was sort of the beginning of me getting into PR, was when I really started to focus in on public relations, seeing what kind of associations or organizations are out there. Mm-hmm. So you can mingle with your peers and learn more about the breadth of the industry and what is possible.
Okay, so speaking of your craft, why public relations?
I think what really caught me onto it was the chase of wanting to figure out, what can this brand or company or even person, how can they position themselves in a way that is going to be exciting and something that the media is going to want to cover. And I think early on, I was fortunate. I had a cousin who was co-running a boxing studio. And I said, hey, do you think I can take some of this news? You're going to have a speaker, and then just pitch it out and see what'll happen. And I did. I put together a little press release, my first real one. And I pitched it out to a few local newspapers, including the Fresno Bee. And then I got a phone call from an editor at the Fresno Bee saying, hey, we received your press release. Can we double check some facts? And I was so amped up because I did it. I did what we're supposed to do. And it was thrilling. It was fun. And I really liked that angle of, okay, let's get something. And then how do we get coverage? What can we do? And it's a little bit of the adrenaline and the chase and having to pivot. And ultimately, when you get a piece of coverage, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I do have to say, it's there's so many different careers, but one of the things that always keeps me interested is yes, the chase, because it's exciting.
Yeah.
But then you get to actually see the fruits of your labor. And that's amazing. Like you said, when you see that headline.
Yeah. When the Fresno Bee called, I was hooked. That was early in one of my first few classes, and I was just trying to apply it all. I was like, okay, I want to keep doing this.
What value has PRSA brought to you as a member?
At a larger scale, there are a lot of resources on prsa.org for learning, not only live webinars, which have proven to be very useful and timely, mm-hmm. On-demand webinars. So maybe you're going for your APR, your accreditation. There's a lot of study materials out there. You could be building a crisis communications plan. There's a lot of resources that are just at your fingertips. So tons of information and resources online for you as a member. There's the community of just being involved at a local level with your chapter, you are able to go to networking events or be a part of a board where everyone in, you know, a 4-county region is here together as a part of the chapter. So you can learn so much from those in the profession with you, and just discussing with your peers, you know, what are you doing and how did that campaign work and how are you rolling out social for this, you know, nonprofit or business. That knowledge share between the members is invaluable. And then of course the networking. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but when we have like a mega mixer, we're pulling together like 6+ communication centered organizations in the area, and just having hundreds of professionals to come together and just build those connections. And not only is that, you know, just great for building friendships and maybe even new business, but it's that just those professional friendships that extend beyond your immediate work culture and even your immediate board or organization. It's just so many people coming through, and you know, the world is a small place, and you'd be surprised at how many times someone you met at a networking event all of a sudden pops up in another event or meeting, and you're like, you know, excited to see them.
Excellent, excellent. Going back to the organization as a whole, what's the focus of PRSA in 2020?
So PRSA California Capital Chapter. So our chapter in particular, our focus this year, it really comes down to longevity of the chapter. We're looking to do whatever we need to behind the scenes to position our organization to just continue through the years, to have as many safeguards in place that makes sense for the nonprofit itself, but also the board, how we pass along information to new board members. And then at the member level, how do we curate new members and keep existing members by providing value? All under the umbrella of how do we position this organization, this nonprofit, this business to continue long term. How
has Merlot supported your professional membership in PRSA?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different things that, and you see how other organizations.
This better be your longest answer, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because from my perspective, it's obviously there's a financial component. Merlot will pay half of membership dues, which is not always the case with other organizations and businesses, but also just the support in terms of the time that you spend in an organization like this, especially if you're on the board and you've got meetings or committee meetings. And then there's the just overall encouragement to continue to be involved and to do more in the community and to give back and to be involved in PR. I mean, it's very important to be in an organization and to hone your craft and to share these stories. You're going to get a lot of insight from other industries that you otherwise wouldn't. And so, you know, me or anyone, you know, working at Merlot, you get that added exposure to different elements in industries and can also share it. So it works twofold. You know, you grow as a professional and you can also share that information to help the agency. But I would flip it around to you because this is your company and policy. So why is it important for you to say, hey, Merlot is going to do this?
Well, I mean, it echoes your answer a little bit, and that is, I think that we should continue to learn and grow and hone our craft forever. I don't care if you're 20, 40, 60 or beyond, where we should always be learning, growing, striving to be better. And then if you take a look at technology and how that has impacted public relations today, I mean, that's why we don't even call it public relations. We call it PR.0. It's not, you know, 2.0, 3.0, 5.0. It's 4.0, meaning that if you are not integrating social, digital, video into everything that we do, you're not, in my very humble opinion, doing it right, because that is public relations in the 21st century. So anything that Merlot can do to continue to support our team and their growth and desire to learn and grow, we're behind it 100%. How has your experience at Merlot, maybe versus a nonprofit or other experience, helped you or benefited, or has it as you're in your leadership role in PRSA?
Yeah, I mean, it's circular for sure, because how I came to work at Merlot had to do with PRSA. As the PR director at the time was actually at Merlot, and through being on the board together, the opportunity presented itself for me to join this agency. And of course, that was an awesome networking and integrated turn of events. And on the other hand, Merlot in particular has influenced my success at PRSA by really just supporting the time commitment and encouraging that growth, and encouraging you to stay curious and to see, what more is out there in the industry with professional organizations. And so I have felt encouraged to explore what's out there and to get involved. And so through that, Merlot has fully supported offsite events, maybe networking events or luncheons, joining the board, spending time on webinars, because PRSA has a lot of relevant webinars that can be shared with the rest of the team, or even just through the industry and through social media. So I'd say holistically, it is holistically, it's just the encouragement of getting involved and being curious, and just sort of the allowance to have those types of opportunities to say, you don't need to think too much about, what's perfectly going to fit, or how much time is it going to take, or just open it up and say, hey, what opportunities are out there, and go get them. And I think that's what has kept me on the board and so active, is because you don't feel constrained or guilty in some way, and you feel encouraged.
So going back to your experience at Merlot, you are leading the California Capital Chapter of the PRSA, but how, at Merlot, we work with national clients and international clients focused on the North American market. How has that broader, more national perspective helped you or impacted what you bring to your chapter?
It's funny. I think I've had some comments about how I run meetings because they're very agency-like, where
Shocking.
You've got it laid out. You want to make sure that you're being mindful of time, but also hitting action items. And that's one thing. That agency mindset kind of changes how you approach the organization. Of course, what's great about having, a presidential term that is essentially 3 years, president-elect and then president and then past president, you have a lot of knowledge share. And you have so many great industry professionals in our region that bring unique perspectives to the table. And one thing that I try to do is to bring that flexibility of working at an agency, but also the business-minded entrepreneur kind of angle to it all, which hopefully allows our organization to be flexible and to have that longevity, to think 5-10 years out for the stabilization of the organization. So when you're working off site and working from home and doing a lot of Zoom meetings, how can we be nimble, and how can we provide value and and continue on with our goal through the year. Just being as flexible and as flexible and efficient as possible.
Well, that's the one thing with agencies, you've got to be comfortable with change. So that's for sure. Last question for you is, you know, a lot of young people coming up in the communications, public relations field. What advice do you have for them?
A few things. When it comes to the actual skills themselves, definitely expose yourself to as much like PR tactics as possible. You need to really work on your writing, on your just understanding of communication, and writing is a huge part of PR. So you should really either enjoy it or be very good at it. But also every element of PR has to do with people. You know, clients are more global than ever. The world is connected more than ever. So studying and being as aware as possible of other cultures and other countries and the norms and how to communicate thoughtfully and with purpose while being very respectful of different approaches to communication, it helps very, very much now more than ever. Also, you know, like you said, AP style and writing and honing that craft. But also just, I'd say first and foremost, figure out if this is what you want to do. And this goes with anything. You need to expose yourself to the various elements of the industry to see, okay, do I want to do agency work? Because that's a very particular niche of PR. Do I want to apply this to nonprofits or to government work? Do I want to work in-house? And the only way that you're going to do that is by having internships or going to networking events, asking around, you know, just learning more about what that may be. And the more you can really fully engulf yourself in PR and what that is and have those trial runs, you'll learn very quickly if you are an agency life person or if you are an in-house working at a different type of business person. And that perhaps is the most valuable thing that I've seen, not only for myself when I was first getting into PR, but you see it through the years. And for those who want to get into PR, it's like, well, what do you want to do with it? I don't know. All right, well, then you need to try all of these things out and see which one speaks to you the most.
Absolutely. And I would have to say, as a young person coming into the field, understanding that PR in the corporate world versus or nonprofit PR on the agency side, yes, the discipline is the same, but the pace, the urgency, it's different. It's definitely different. So obviously I'm a fan of the agency side. I think just to wrap it up, Louis, Merlot, all of us at Merlot want to congratulate you on your leadership role. And we're super proud of you and what you're accomplishing. And we are certainly pleased that you're part of the Merlot team.
Fantastic. Thank you.